7 billion people, one Earth, one chance. Each minute, at least 51 acres of tropical rainforests are destroyed. We consume almost 35,000 barrels of oil. We add 12,000 tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Americans dump 16 tons of the sewage into their waters every minute. There is currently 700 million cars on the road today, producing 900 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. The definition of sustainability is the quality of not being harmful to the environment or depleting natural resources, and thereby supporting long-term ecological balance. Let's see what Regis University does to stay sustainable. At Regis University, we compost, conserve energy, recycle, and use wind power. At Regis University, walls are painted with VOS tree paint, which doesn't give off harmful gases. Carpets are made with recycled materials and no chemical adhesives. At Regis University, we have a bus pass program, use a community garden, have RU bikes, a sustainability committee, and use hydration stations.
I think being sustainable has a lot of different meanings. It depends on what capacity you're talking about it in. You can have a sustainable life in general where you're providing for yourself and providing for those around you and doing it in a wholesome way. But I think also sustainability can just be in a small action in that you sustain whatever moment is going on. So it could be either a process or just one action.
Sustainability to me means recycling and just being responsible with the way you use your resources, not wasting water and wasting light energy and stuff like that. So when you're leaving your house, turning your lights off.
Sustainability means to sustain your ability to garden in the community.
Over 2 million tons of plastic water bottles populate landfills around the world. In order to meet the demand for bottled water in the U.S. alone, more than 1.5 million barrels of oil are used, or about 39 million gallons. According to the EPA, more than 300 gallons of water are used each day in the average American household, but the UN suggests that only 5 to 13 gallons are needed per person per day. The daily uses for water include drinking, cooking, cleaning, and personal hygiene.
I think that I recycle a good portion of the time, but I definitely don't recycle all the time. I definitely could improve what I'm doing. I think that a lot of times I just get caught up in whatever I'm doing and forget to do what's correct and recycle my paper cups or aluminum cans or plastic water bottles.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I just got a car, so I haven't had a car for a very long time, and it's an eco-friendly car now. I love to ride bikes, so that's, I guess, environmentally friendly. I don't really recycle, which I've been trying to work on, but it's difficult, as you guys know, in a house with so many people to keep your things separate. I really like to go outside and enjoy. I don't use too much TV or technology or anything like that. So for the most part, I'd say I'm environmentally conscious, I guess.
My environmental habits would be, I don't know if just being in nature could be considered one. And otherwise, I don't know, I've helped with a few community cleanups and stuff, but other than that, I don't know, I have a garden.
You've heard it 1,000 times about how the environment is changing, and we, as citizens of the world, need to care for it. As Regis students, we have been posed with the question how we ought to live since before the first day of classes. One way we live is through our interactions with the environment that surrounds us, but it is up to us to decide in what ways. We interact by breathing the air, using water for a shower or drink, and flipping a switch or plugging in the morning coffee pot. But all these interactions take and give to the environment. After thousands of years of humans and animals inhabiting the earth, our actions are starting to have a noticeable effect in the environment.
I think that it seems like Regis is environmentally friendly, but I don't really know like what goes on behind the scenes and stuff. But I know that I don't know. It seems like when I toured this campus as compared to other ones, like I don't know, like in the cafeteria, like it seems pretty environmentally sustainable, and it has the garden and stuff. So yeah.
In some ways, yes. I love that we have the water bottles that you can refill, and we have a sustainability committee, which a lot of people don't even know about at different schools that I've talked to my friends with. But something that they're really working on is talking with I'm not exactly sure who it is. I think it's like the president of the school I know they had a meeting with, but they're working on fossil fuel divestment at the school, and I think that if that were to be something we continued pursuing and actually went through with, then I would consider Regis a really environmentally friendly school.
The soil and water are all affected by the use of fertilizers, in which we use to enhance crop production, but they strip the soil of its natural nutrients and pollute the water from runoff. Once the chemicals are in the water, whether from fertilizer, oil, or somewhere else, they can go on to affect people and animals by means such as cancer, birth defects, and death. Also, there is an effect of driving vehicles, using oil and burning coal and other fossil fuels. Through these actions, harmful pollutants are released into the air. The EPA cites the 6 major pollutants as carbon monoxide, ground-level ozone, lead, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, and sulfur dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is a combustion emission gas known for being emitted from vehicle engines, power generators, and heat sources.
I think it helps the world as a whole, definitely. I'm in a climate justice class right now, and I'm really interested in peace and justice. It's my emphasis. So I think just being aware of the world that we live on and how we can use it to its fullest without abusing it is really important to recognize, especially as students at a Jesuit university, with like how we ought to live and all of that. I think that we ought to live in a way that's sustainable for not only ourselves but those around us.
We must act now, for ourselves, for each other, and for our future.
It's important to practice sustainability because we have limited resources on our planet, and if we don't use them wisely, like they have been being used unwisely, we're going to run into more and more issues like we're running into now, like global warming and deforestation and different large issues like that we might not necessarily see now, but down the road our kids or our kids' kids could be affected by.
These are just a few examples of the effect we have on our environment. While many of these changes have been beneficial for mankind, they have had a generally negative effect on the environment. Some would go on to argue that such changes have led to an increased number of disasters in recent years, such as droughts, hurricanes, tsunamis, and the melting of icebergs.
Our environment. I think we all are in a sense. Definitely to a large degree, like oil companies and all of that, who are I don't know, really screwing things up for the most part. And I mean, yeah, they have many positive benefits to a lot of society that allow us to live the life that we think we should be living right now, but it also leaves this impression that we need to be living that life, and I think we forget about our roots a lot. I'm actually doing a presentation on this like in a couple of weeks. We forget that like people used to live on this same land without homes that needed electricity and without cars that used gasoline, and they didn't emit practically any carbon dioxide into the air or anything like that. So I mean, not necessarily that emitting CO2 is always connected to sustainability, but I think that that's something we often neglect. Did that answer?
It starts at an individual level and then stems out to a governmental level, affecting countries internationally. It is imperative that the whole community pitches in trying to be sustainable. We cannot just have one person, we need everyone.
I think the individual does, and then that affects the government. Like, we have a word in our government, we have a say in our government.
Here are some simple tips you can do to be more sustainable. Turn off your computers at night, recycle glass, rethink bottled water, ban bath time, carpool, recycle paper, buy locally, use less water, go vegetarian once a week, and turn off all your lights. Our planet is changing. We need to help change it for the better, and we're asking for your help to do that. There are a lot of things that affect our planet in a bad way, but the good news is that everyone can help to reduce them and do their bit for the environment. Going green is easier than you think. There are little things you can do every day to help reduce greenhouse gases and make a less harmful impact on the environment. Taking care of the earth is not just a responsibility, it's a privilege. By protecting the environment and practicing sustainability, we are also protecting ourselves as people of this world. As Al Gore said, each and every one of us can make changes in the way we live our lives and become a part of the solution. Every small action that is taken has the possibility of great changes in ourselves and those around us and the entire world. This is our world. What are you going to do with it?
Sustainability is a blank.
Important to be environmentally friendly. Because the environment is there's like islands outside of Hawaii that have like plastic waste on them, and it's ruining the oceans. And I think we need to be more sustainable. I mean, it's hard out here because we're not near an ocean, but who do you think has the power to change it?
I am, but that doesn't necessarily I do it.
Sometimes I just don't like to recycle if the recycling bin is overflowed, so I don't really care. But yeah, I would consider myself sustainable.
So what does being sustainable mean to you?
I do take really long showers because I like to take baths, but I'm too big for the bathtub, so I like to go to gardens, big flowers.